Greetings, ladies and managers, and welcome to this latest episode of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read it for your pleasure. This particular story is called Quality is a Better Quality Than Quantity Can Ever Be, written by Random 3X. It had been a few years since the war between the Tucknock and humanity had begun. Years of constant back and forth, where blood was shed in amounts unfathomable in the years preceding conflict. Such was the case, but the Feck knew that they would win in the end. Humanity was a race that had a slow reproductive cycle, so the Tucknock needed only to overwhelm them with their superior numbers. Feck remembered one particular human that he had enjoyed interrogating about his race. That one had uttered the words that always spoke to him. Quantity is a quality all of its own. Such a simple saying, but it embodied the Tucknock ideology. To his everlasting surprise, though, humanity stubbornly resisted with their ever-dwindling numbers. While the Feck's race focused on numerical advantages, the humans concentrated on making the best of their few numbers. Their ingenuity and tricksy nature was one realm even the Feck could click his mandibles to. The most intriguing development of late was that one captured human had named the Sirens Array. The humans had captured a few Tucknock vessels and reverse-engineered their control systems. With the distress beacons placed in asteroid fields, they had tricked considerable numbers of fleets already into void sinking. He couldn't help but marvel at the ingeniousness of the idea of making crews reluctant to ever respond to such beacons for fear of a trap. Looking at the human sitting across from him, ready and waiting to be interrogated, Feck wondered where to begin. Perhaps the latest trickery of the damnable human general, Domain, or maybe the Gatling space station that had wiped out a number of swarm fleets with the sheer volume of firepower. It was then that Feck decided on his question. "Human, I have a question." The human looked up as Feck spat a red glob towards him. Feck knew that this was an act of defiance from the human, but it meant little to him. "Why do you not increase your forces to match ours in number?"
"Why?" The human paused and thought. "Because only an idiot thinks quantity is equivalent to quality."
"Explain!" Feck impatiently shouted. He knew the humans had a concept of using vast numbers, but to hear the very idea called stupid was confusing to him.
"Simple. One human with all of our gear can face like what? A few hundred of you guys."
As loath as he was to admit it, the human spoke true. Humanity had engineered magnificent battle gear, and the rates were roughly what he stated. "Yes, that is true."
"You see, you big-ass bug. Well, those few hundred whatsits, you need to feed and food supplies, right?"
Feck nodded.
"Those supplies need guards to keep them safe, doesn't it? Which means you need more supplies to account for the guards."
Feck had to concede the logistics that had come about because of the conflict had caused the officers' corps many a headache.
"This goes on and on and on with the bigger your numbers till you become a slow, lumbering idiot of a force. Well, with our better gear, we can limit the costs to a minimum."
"But we destroyed the summer system with such methods."
"I never said they don't work, but you will find the payoff to be less than you invest. That's why it's stupid to focus solely on overwhelming numbers. Remember Craxus 4, you bug bastard?"
Feck had to restrain himself. The human was obviously provoking him. Craxus 4 had been a disaster of epic proportions. Humanity had baited them into the world, and then, using a strange weapon, had ignited the atmosphere.
"We wasted like 40 men and a cool weapon to wipe out how many?"
Feck refused to rise to the provocation and answer. Even now, the ministries of the High Queen were still tallying the dead.
"That's what you bug bastards fail to realize. You may outnumber us, but you don't outclass us. All of your numbers do is make you become a bigger, easier target.
What do you mean?
Ever heard of a biosignature trace?
That is the human technology trace of specific genetica, Vic trailed off as he looked into the human, who had an ear-to-ear grin.
Exactly. I brought up Caxus 4 because we made another of those cool weapons, but had trouble knowing where to best hit. One thing I'll give you, your numbers do make it hard to find the brainy bugs. But say we put a single soldier with not long to live anyways, and made them the juiciest bait. So juicy, the bugs won't be able to resist capturing them.
So, this is a trap?
Yes, it is already on its way. For the cost of one terminally ill soldier, and the resources to make a superb weapon, your numbers will become irrelevant.
I see, Rick replied as he sat down across from the human. He knew from his research the genetic target didn't need to be alive, and it was already on its way. Any evacuation would be impossible with the sheer number present on the world. Ingenious and tricksy, he muttered under his breath.
Pardon?
The human asked, tilting his head. You lot are ingenious and tricksy. I doubt my race would ever come up with half the ways that you've used to fight us. Numbers were always a sure thing when I was being trained.
Aren't you going to sound the alarm?
Why? Your weapons move too fast for us to intercept. I'd rather let my people enjoy their peace when the end comes. The human seemed taken aback by his words. Numbers have always been a surefire strategy for my race, and we have never encountered a foe as stubborn as yours. Tell me, why are you so skilled at facing such great odds?
Because we are weak.
Vic had to stifle a laugh at the human, who earlier stated when equipped they could face hundreds of Tuknuk and win, saying that he was weak.
We are so weak that we had to become clever to survive. Yes, we could just go with numbers, but that is not a sustainable ideology. As you said, tricksy and ingenious. We were never the fastest or the strongest on our own planet when we evolved, but we were the tricksiest. We had to become quality to compensate for the weakness because quantity was not a factor that we could ever manage.
Vic paused in thought, ignoring the now blaring alarm as the planetary sensors had detected the weapon approaching. It was a shame that he had achieved this epiphany about the humans on the day of his death. I see. Then with us pushing you into a corner with our numbers, you are no doubt going to develop a quality to overcome our quantity. Shame seems like this whole affair could have been avoided had we realized this sooner.
Indeed.
The human nodded as the ground began to violently shake, with their ends coming swiftly thereafter. End of story. Story number 2. Humans Technology, Humans and Rocks, written by TexWolf84. The Surian looked up from his computer. Hey, did you hear about the new species being admitted to the council? Grisnak asked his shipmate as he glanced at the headline. They're a primate species like yours.
Yeah, Algor responded. Humans, Terrans, or any one of a dozens of subunits that they call their own species. Our people met them first. They're just, weird.
What do you mean? Grisnak asked. Having subunits of your own species wasn't that uncommon, but it wasn't normal either.
Like, their technology. It's inorganic, Algor said. Inorganic like their tools, Grisnak said.
Surprised. Every species known to date bioengineered organic machines. Need to control gravity, bioengineer an organic mass in the guise of an organ that can control gravity. Need a weapon, grow a mass that can expel spikes, or concentrate bioenergy into a beam. FTL, clone the FTL organ of any of the space-going animals that can naturally make FTL jumps, and graft it to your ship. Sure, species used inorganic tools from time to time, especially before they learn how to bioengineer self-healing and reproducing tools. But no one made actual machines out of inorganic matter.
All of their tech, it's all inorganic.
How do they control gravity? Grisnak asked.
They made an inorganic machine that creates a gravity field.
What about power? How do they generate bioenergy?
They don't. They smash atoms together and harvest the energy like it's a star.
Algor responded.
They call it electricity.
Malar shit, Grisnak protested. That's impossible.
They call them reactors. All of their ships and most of their worlds use them.
How do they work?
I have no idea. Something about using radiation rocks and smashing isotopes together really fast and hard.
Algor replied, dejected. Okay. Weapons, do they at least grow their own ammo?
No. They use something called lasers. Particle beams will just throw rocks really, really fast.
They throw rocks fast? Grisnak asked in disbelief. Do they throw radiation rocks really fast?
Only when they've stopped giving off radiation. They said it makes it denser, so it hits harder.
What is it with these humans and rocks? I mean, how are they even FTL without some kind of FTL organ? Do they have an FTL rock?
They made their own FTL generator. They call them jump drives.
Algor explained. No, yeah. How do they know when they're going with them? Do they just bang rocks together at the jump point to see where they end up?
No. They tricked rocks into thinking for them, and they used that to calculate the FTL.
Now I know that you're pulling my tail. They tricked inorganic rocks into thinking.
Yeah, weird, right? They figured out how to melt down sand and crystallize it into an almost atomic level, and somehow their electricity works with it. So it's like a switch, either on or off. And from there, they make these complex-ass machines that can think. It's crazy how fast, too. How long does it take your navigator to plot a jump?
Don't know. If they're good and have a biointerface and compatibility with the FTL organ, half a cycle, maybe?
So a cycle is a bit longer than what the humans call an hour. Their jump drives and computers can calculate a jump in 2/60ths of a cycle. What they call a couple of minutes.
With thinking rocks, Grisnak deadpanned.
With thinking rocks, Algor said.
Do they eat the rocks?
Not really. They eat anything else, though.
What, like meat? Grisnak asked.
And plants.
But not rocks.
They use some rocks for seasoning.
Grisnak threw his claws up and stood. Give me a break! What is it with these humans and rocks?
I don't know. They call their world dirt, though.
End of story. I would like to thank the legendary Inglet for taking the Tier 6 patron spot and sponsoring this channel. Thank you very much. Just a little outro thing, for those interested. The voice is kind of back to normal, but not. It's going to take quite a while for me to get used to the new voice. My normal voice is now just a little bit deeper than it was, so there's that. But voices and accents that I used to be able to do aren't quite there anymore, so I'm going to have to practice to get those back. I'm also going to have to strengthen my voice back up to pre-operation levels, and so I get the stamina back as well. So it's going to take a bit of time to get back into the full swing of things. So I hope you guys understand. Yeah, can't think of anything else. Hope you all have a good one. Cheers. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 channel members and patrons. Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Lord Azrakal, Dratzoon WRE, Holly Sister, Ambrose Cattell, and Quantum Wednesday. Thank you very much.